everybody. My name is Brian Belcito, and I want to welcome you to another episode of Sports Rambling. So, today is Friday, August 14th, 2020, and I am pumped to do this show. You want to know why? Because this is probably the first really big sports weekend we've had since the COVID 19 shutdown hit the United States and really the globe. So, we've got basketball hitting its playoffs. We've got the NHL playoffs have already started. Baseball hitting a little bit of a stride, had some bumps here and there with their COVID problems and testing and positive tests and stuff like that. But you know what? We're just gonna bypass all that stuff and keep it positive up here on Sports Rambling. So the first topic I wanted to go into was the NBA bubble and how that has worked out. So today, as we're filming this around 3 o'clock, they're finishing up. Miami Heat and Indiana Pacers are playing right now. So they're getting closer to finishing up their bubble and getting their playoff seeding all set. And, well, the East is already set. The West has a play in game, but we'll get to that in a few minutes. So I just wanted to, give the NBA a pretty good shout out here because they did a really nice job with their bubble over there in Orlando, Florida. Their testing has come through well. Not many problems at all. There were a couple bumps in the road at the very beginning of everything, but they got through that and they've done a really nice job. From a presentation standpoint, I think it's been awesome. There's no crowd there. It's an empty arena, but they've enclosed it a little bit. They put the big screens up with fans on it. They've got, the team colors for the home team and stuff like that. It's given it a real nice feel. The players have done a nice job too. They've come and brought what looks like their A game after a long hiatus to their season. So, props to everybody over there, the coaches, the players, and everybody who put on the bubble. So, um, you know, that's been really good. One thing I'll say about the level of play, nobody seems to be bringing their defensive game at all. Every game seems to be in the 120s and 130s, but hey, we'll see what happens. Maybe they'll ramp up the defense as they get into the playoffs and guys get closer to getting a ring. Um, so far, well, through the 2 weeks of the bubble, I'm going to go out there and I am going to say the all bubble team would probably look something like this. Trailblazers point guard Damian Lillard. This man, the last 3 games of their season, just averaged 50 points and 9 assists. First time in NBA history that has ever been done over the course of a 3 game period. Any time in the history of the NBA, that's a pretty amazing stat. He dropped 51, 61, and then 42 in a close ball game last night against the Brooklyn Nets, who brought it as the Trailblazers had to win in order to get that 8 seed and be a part of that play-in game for the 8 seed to see who plays the Lakers. Um, Devin Booker from the Phoenix Suns, who came in to the bubble looking like they were going to be a little bit overlooked. But guess what? The Phoenix Suns went 8-0. Devin Booker averaged 31 points under their head coach, Monty Williams. The Suns brought it every night. They have nothing to be ashamed about in missing the playoffs. They probably deserve the first ever legit participation trophy in the history of mankind. So Devin Booker really brought it. So props to him, and the Suns, I think, are going to be a handful going forward. They really learned a lot in the bubble, and they really came together as a team. So they're a young squad, and we'll see where they go from there. T.J. Warren, the wing guy from the Indiana Pacers, he showed out. He had a 50-point game last week. Played really well in the bubble. The Greek freak, Giannis Antetokounmpo, he's definitely got to be on the bubble team, even though he missed a game for throwing that wicked headbutt, a little bit dirty, thrown towards Mo Wagner. But he's got to be in the bubble given the stats he put up. And probably number 5 is one of my favorite players now to watch, and that's Luka Doncic. This guy is the future of basketball, I think. He's super young, super talented. He's played in a lot of big games overseas in his life, and he's starting to show in the NBA that he is a future stud in this league, probably a future MVP winner. So that would probably be my bubble team. Little shout out to the San Antonio Spurs, who also came and brought their A game. They just missed the playoffs as well. That will be the first time since 1997 that the San Antonio Spurs are not a part of the playoffs. That's major props to their coach, Greg Popovich. That's a great dude right there. One of the great coaches in the history of sports, let alone the NBA. So even though they missed the playoffs, they can take some positivity out of the way they played and the young players that they have coming up. Um, Looking at what's going to be coming up in the next few days, and that's the start of the playoffs. But first, we have the first ever play-in game for the 8 seed in the West. So the way that's going to work is with the Blazers as the 8 seed, they only have to beat the Grizzlies, the 9 seed, one time. So if they beat them tomorrow, they move on. The Blazers would move on to play the Los Angeles Lakers as the 8 seed, with the Lakers being the 1 seed. The Grizzlies win tomorrow, then you got another game that's for all the marbles of being the 8 seed to go up against Lakers. So I think that it's probably going to be a Blazers victory tomorrow, is my call. You got a good matchup there where you got Damian Lillard going against Ja Morant, who's your probable NBA Rookie of the Year. But I don't think the Grizzlies have enough to hold off the Blazers. I mean, they're stacked with you got Carmelo Anthony, with Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum. Nurkic is back playing big. Nick Collins, Hassan Whiteside, Gary Trent Jr. has turned into Klay Thompson. So the Blazers look strong, and they may very well give the Lakers all they can handle. So looking at the brackets, the way they're setting up, you've got Lakers against the winner of that 8-9 seed. The Los Angeles Clippers against the Dallas Mavericks. That should be a pretty good series. A lot of talent on the floor for both teams. The Houston Rockets going against the OKC Thunder. That's an interesting matchup. You got Chris Paul leading OKC going back up against Houston, who he used to play for. You got Russell Westbrook, who played most of his career for OKC, and James Harden. As much as I like him, dislike watching his style of play, he still is a handful for teams. He's one of the top 5 players in the league, consensus for sure. And then the last series is my Utah Jazz going against the Denver Nuggets. The Jazz are going to have a rough time with the Nuggets. The Nuggets are a better team. They're deeper. The Nuggets are one of the deepest teams in the league. The Jazz are without their second leading scorer, Bogdanovich. So that it kind of puts them, behind the 8 ball. I'll be happy if the Jazz win a couple games, make the Nuggets sweat a little bit, but I certainly don't expect them to win. I expect the Jazz to get deeper in the offseason and be a bigger wrecking ball for teams to deal with next year. So over in the East, you've got the 1 seed Milwaukee Bucks going up against Orlando. Milwaukee is deep, clearly the best team in the East all season long. They should handle Orlando. Might lose a game here or there, but I expect Milwaukee to move on. The Toronto Raptors, the defending champions, as long ago as that seems, they're going up against the Brooklyn Nets. Who I'm going to go right out there and say, I did a preview show of the bubble with my boy Young Kim. And in that, I kind of mocked the Nets, and I said, Brooklyn has nobody coming into the bubble. Turns out Joe Hill and Karis LeVert brought some of their A game. They've come together nicely, even though they're missing guys like DeAndre Jordan. They're without Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. So props to the Nets for bringing their A game into the bubble. But I do think that they're going to get beat by the Toronto Raptors. You got an old school matchup, a big rivalry. Boston Celtics versus the Philadelphia 76ers. The Sixers will be without Ben Simmons, but they're still strong. I don't know that they're strong enough to beat Boston for the first time in the playoffs since the early 80s, but we'll see. And the last matchup, you got a little bit of a grudge match here. You got T.J. Warren against Jimmy Butler. They had a little scuffle earlier in the season, and they had a little Twitter battle that followed that up that was interesting. So that's the Miami Heat versus the Indiana Pacers. That's an even series in my opinion, and it could go to either side. So I'm looking forward to all the NBA action getting started tomorrow with the play-in game, possible second play-in game on Sunday, and then it kicks off full speed. My Jazz play the first game Monday morning, 10:30 my time, so I'm looking forward to that. We'll see how the NBA bubble goes. You can look for early next week. I will have another interview show with my boy Young Kim. We are going to give our predictions now that the brackets are set. So I'm looking forward to doing that. Moving on to the NHL action. So the playoffs are in full swing. The first round series have gotten underway. Um, let's see. In the West, you've got the Las Vegas Golden Knights holding a 2-0 lead right now over the Chicago Blackhawks. You've got the Colorado Avalanche holding a 2-0 lead on the Coyotes of Phoenix. You've got the Stars and the Flames, the Dallas Stars and the Calgary Flames. They're tied 1-1. And you've got the Vancouver Canucks up 1-0 on the defending champion St. Louis Blues. So the West is starting out. I would like to actually see the Colorado Avalanche come out of the West. I actually do like that franchise. Same thing with the Golden Knights of Las Vegas. It would be interesting to see them. So all those series look like they're being pretty competitive. Over in the East, where my Flyers reside, they won game one, and right now, as we are taping, they are getting smoked 5-0 in game two. So that could be a long series against the Montreal Canadiens. Um, if Carter Hart, the young goalie for the Philadelphia Flyers, brings his A game, I think the Flyers should advance. They've been one of the best teams in hockey as they went into the shutdown, and they came out and played well in the round robin and snatched that one seed. So we'll see how that goes. You had an epic 5 overtime game between the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Columbus Blue Jackets. So that series is currently tied 1-1. Not sure how they played game two after having a 5 OT game, but that's the NHL playoffs. These guys are amazing. You've got a 1-0 lead for the Islanders, the New York Islanders over the Washington Capitals right now, and you got a 1-1 series between the Boston Bruins and the Carolina Hurricanes. So I look for the NHL action to be as exciting as usual. The NHL playoffs are always a highlight of the year. It is a man's sport. You get the guys with their playoff beards. You get these guys giving it all for Lord Stanley's Cup. So I will be updating what's going on in all of those series as that happens. You can look for an update show from me probably twice a week and a preview on the weekends. That's what I'm hoping to start kicking off here. As we move over into what has been a little bit of a troubled sport coming out of the COVID shutdown, that is Major League Baseball, but they seem to be getting things a little bit under control. The Marlins were shut down for a little while. The St. Louis Cardinals were shut down for quite some time. The Marlins have come out of being shut down and are playing good ball. Let's see where they are. They are sitting atop the National League East with an 8-4 record, a game ahead of the Atlanta Braves, who was my pick to go to the World Series this year. You also have in the National League, the best record belongs to the Chicago Cubs, who are 13-3. They've gone 9-1 in their last 10 games. They haven't even really started hitting yet. So the Cubs have just come out firing on all cylinders. So they could very easily find themselves as a favorite as we go a little bit, a little longer into this 60-game season. That division's kind of a mess after that. Everybody else is under 500. Over in the West, you've got Colorado Rockies ahead of the Los Angeles Dodgers. Well, actually, they're in a flat foot tie, but the Rockies have a little bit better of a winning percentage, so they get the number one spot right there in the West. Little bit of a surprise. Right behind them, the Los Angeles Dodgers, as everybody expected, playing 650 baseball with a 13-7 record. And you've got the San Diego Padres at 11-9. Now the Padres may be a year early, in my opinion. They have a ton of talent. Um, Fernando Tatis Jr. is a superstar waiting to happen. They've got Manny Machado, Eric Hosmer, and a host of other young players up and coming. So the Padres are somebody to watch if they get into the expanded playoffs in baseball this year. My Giants are currently in last place and are actually in the running for that number one pick. I wouldn't mind seeing them get that number one pick. Some other teams are right now are ahead of them for that, if you want to call it ahead of them. So we'll see how that goes. The Giants are a little better offensively than I thought they would be, and they're pitching worse than I thought they would be. So it's kind of odd. So we'll see what happens the rest of the way with them. Over in the American League, the New York Yankees are stacked. They're 12-6, tied with the Rays, the Tampa Bay Rays, with another record of 12-6 atop the American League East. Now, if you had the Baltimore Orioles to be 10-7, go buy a lottery ticket. They are killing it. They are playing above what everybody thought, but they're starting to show signs that they've got some young talent. So kudos to the Baltimore Orioles. That's a great baseball city. It would be nice to see them kind of make a run. Let's see, in this last month and a half or so that we got to go, see if they can make a run at the playoffs. In the Central, this is a tough division. The Twins are clearly the best team in that division, in my opinion, with a 12-7 record. The Tigers, they are doing a Baltimore Oriole impersonation. They're 9-7. They were highly considered to be a last place squad. So the Tigers playing above what everybody thought. The Indians and the White Sox at 10-9 are still in it. They're in it for a playoff spot. A lot can happen over the next month and a half, but then again, over half the league gets into the playoffs this season. So I think both of them are pretty strong for that. The White Sox, I think, have a great offense. They're an up and coming team over the next few years. I look for them to win a lot of ball games. And then out west, this is a surprise. The Oakland A's, well, they're not much of a surprise. They're 13-6. The Oakland A's have a great organizational plan. Every year they contend, they play over their heads. They recycle. They just keep bringing talent in and continue to get it done. They're always in it. They're always in the hunt. It's very impressive what they do over there in Oakland, especially given the fact that they have a terrible stadium. But I guess right now the cardboard cutouts don't care what the stadium looks like. The Texas Rangers, a bit of us, playing 500 ball. The rest of the division, under 500. Rangers 8-9. Astros 8-10, Angels 7-12, Mariners 7-13. I thought the Angels would be much better, but who knows? Mike Trout has been playing like a madman since he became a father, so props to him. Best of luck to him and his wife as they enjoy the early parts of their first experience as parents. So there you have it, folks. That's what's going on. Looking forward to a big weekend in sports. Let's see here for a second. In the American League, I'm looking at a couple good series over this weekend. You got the Indians and the Tigers. That should be pretty good. You have got you got a lot of interleague play going on. So you got the A's and the Giants playing the Bay Bridge series. So that's always fun. I'll be tuning into that tonight. You got the Freeway series in SoCal between the Angels and the Dodgers. Another good series that I would look at is, they haven't played to their talent level, in my opinion, but the Blue Jays in Buffalo hosting the Tampa Bay Rays, who are in first place, tied with the Yankees. So the Blue Jays have a lot of young talent. They've got a great young infield. So I look to see if maybe they can turn it around a little bit and tighten up that race in the East this weekend. So anyway, that's what I got for you here in an update show. I really appreciate anybody checking in, anybody sharing my stuff. All the support means the world to me. I hope everybody out there is safe and has a great weekend. Much love from me and the production crew here at Sports Rambling, and I am